Hey, we're back in the garage today here at Wrench Benders, and we are working on the 6.9 motor. So we got our care package in from Justin, and it had camshaft, piston rings, and some other components in it. And if you want to watch that unboxing of the parts we got from Justin, I will leave a link in the description below. You can check that out. So we did run into a problem. It seems like we always run into a problem, but we ran into a problem, and this one was with the piston rings, the Hastings piston rings. And we contacted Justin and he led us down the right path, but I will let Ben explain a little bit more on what's going on and how we're going to solve the problem. So, there it is.
So, Justin ordered piston rings from Hastings, right? And what Justin does is he pulls the second, and you can look over here, that your piston packs, the rings will come in a package that says 1, that's ring number 1. There is the third ring down, it's your oil wiper ring. And then Justin pulls the second pack out and he puts in, because I ordered the total seal piston rings. And these things are really cool because what this does is when these go in the piston, this is like a two-piece modular ring, that it actually gets rid of your ring gap to a point. And these motors had really bad blow-by, so this right here will correct that. I'm trying to get it on there where it sits where you can see how that goes on there, but once it's on the piston, it kind of forms there and it kind of takes away gap. It's called a gapless, but total seal. So there's that. So the problem we ran into is these right here is standard piston rings. It says right here, your Ford 6.9L IHC, and your standard bore is 4.0000. And of course these are the thickness of your rings. So with that being said, we ran into the issue of, is I take one of the so-called Hastings standard rings, and I put it down in here, and I've got my scrap piece of metal from over there at the bench that I've been setting down here to kind of get me a constant level all the way around, so far down in the hole. But the problem I have is, if you look, my ring overlaps. So after speaking with Justin, the conclusion me and him come up with is that somebody at Hastings made a little mistake, and these are a little bit oversized rings. They're not actually stock rings. Now, happy accident, things happen for a reason, or a blessing, however you want to look at it. The two cylinders right here had a little bit of pitting in them. I had to hone them a little bit more than I really wanted to kind of get the pitting out of, just where it's set for so long. So I was worried that the standard rings would have a little too much ring gap. Well, now we don't have to worry about that, because these rings might be a little oversized, but what I'm able to do is I'm able to file fit them. So if you'll look into this right here, I've already filed this one, and I've set it down in there with my piece of metal, and I've got my feeler gauge here, and that's 16 thousandths, and 16 thousandths is still a little loose in there, so it's probably closer to like 17 thousandths, something like that. So I'm actually filing the rings down. I'll show you how I do that. Is I come over here and I'll place them in this vise, like that right there, just gently pinch it, and then I will take and file the ring until I get my desired gap. So the problem is with this is you have to check and then file, check and file, check and file. Don't get too excited filing, because if you file too much, your gap gets too big and you've messed up and that ring's now useless. So we went through total seal rings. I've explained they were oversized and we're filing to fit. So what I've got here is I've already filed these ones, and I've got my piston sleeve here. And several of you guys have done this before, I'm sure, but if you haven't, see these knots on this side? This is the bottom of your piston sleeve. This is the side that goes against the block and keeps it from going down in the sleeve, or going down in the block with the piston. So I will put that on here, and I'm going to take my wrench and I'm going to tighten it. And the purpose of this is to compress the rings on the piston to get them into the ring grooves, and that way you can tap the piston down into the block. I've got duct tape on my vise here, and it's not on a machine surface to say on the piston, so I'm not marring the metal up.
That's what it looks like, how it functions.
So I'll take this out now. I'll take nuts off here. And this thing right here is going to be a booger. I can see that right now. The last one wasn't that hard to get off here. Got my brass hammer. I'm just going to tap a little bit. Came off a little bit more violent than I was hoping for it to, but here we are. So I've got me a little bit of assembly lube, and provided that bearing stays in there the whole time and doesn't fall out, put a little on it for the mating surface with the crankshaft, and I'm going to put a little bit inside the hole here and smear it around my finger some, just to kind of help it slide down in the hole. And then on these pistons, and this is the amazing part because these only had 17,000 miles on it, cam side still has the arrow. So I'm going to, oh, almost forgot, got my hoses here. Yep. Put these on the studs, that way as it goes down in the bore, they don't scrape the walls, and it allows me to have a little bit longer material to kind of guide over the crankshaft, and keeps the threads and the ends of the bolts from digging into the crankshaft as well. So I don't know if everybody does this, but kind of Dad got me started doing this, and I don't see anything wrong with it. Protects all your surfaces, your machine surfaces. So set that down in there like so. We'll get the ends of the skirts down in the hole. Let's see here what we hit. Okay, we're gliding slightly around. Okay, I'm around the piston squirter now. Okay, and there's that. So now, I'm on each side of the crankshaft there. I'm going to turn that just a fuzz. Harder to do now that I got two other pistons in there. There we go. Okay, now, see that?
Right there's the one, and back there's the other one on each side.
Now I've got me a piece of wood, and since I've already got the brass mallet out, we're going to use it. Not that it really matters because I'm using a piece of wood, but I'm going to just tap. I'm not hitting very hard, just enough to kind of move it. And it's driving the piston out of the, we'll check down here real quick, make sure things still copacetic. Now the sleeve's off, and now I can go ahead and send the piston on down a little bit, which now it's really easy because the sleeve had some tension on it. And it's going to line that where I had them rubber tubes on there right up, and now it's bottomed out and it's sitting on the crank. So I'll pull my hoses off here. And it's not fully on the crank, so
Maybe a little bit more love.
yeah, just a little bit more love, just a touch. And now you're on the crank. Now I'm going to take my bottom cap. I'm going to put a little bit of assembly lube on it and smear it. And I've got to make my surfaces. So I'm looking for my 2 letter marks there. I've got my other one started. Got them up there finger tight. I'm gonna grab my wrench. And I'm not torquing them right now. I'm just gonna get them on there just a little snug. That's all my plan is. I'll flip everything over and I'll torque them all in one stride as I go across, is my plan. So just get them to where they're nice and snug, like that right there. And that's it. We put one piston in, we file fit the rings for it, and it's good to go. Start on the next one. And I've already got this third ring done for this one. So this will go on the next piston. And flip it over and do the other side. So.
And that's the status of where we are on the 6.9 right now. It's back in assembly mode. We're getting it together one piece at a time. But no, again, I want to show another big shout out to Justin for not only getting us the parts pretty quick, but he's answered the phone for us and gave us some really good information when we had questions. So we appreciate it, Justin. If you're watching, thank you. And for everybody else, thanks for watching. And if you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button. Shoot us a comment. Let us know what you want to see, how we're doing. Give us some feedback.
Tell me how bad I'm screwing up. I love it when I hear that.
Yeah. So, hey, thanks for watching, guys. See you.